Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have with me Connie Anne, and she was introduced to me by a mutual friend of ours who, when he heard what she did, he said, "Oh, do you know Jenny Bellinger?" And so he made sure that we met. So Connie Anne started with a career in sales and the film industry and became a beacon of transformation. Connie Anne's journey is nothing short of inspiring. She is a dedicated personal and corporate coach, guiding individuals and teams to unlock their full potential by harnessing the power of the law of attraction. Having reached a high five-figure income one short year after finding herself homeless, we're going to be talking about that, she gained profound fulfillment by embracing the universal laws. Connie Anne now shares her insights and strategies with others, leading them to the path of success and satisfaction. Living in the picturesque British Columbia, Canada, she continues to be a student of life. Welcome to the show, Connie Anne.
Thank you, Jenny. It's my pleasure to be here. I feel very blessed. Thank you.
I am so excited because when James Lamb said, "I have someone to introduce to you," and then he put us in the chat together, and then we actually got on a call together. And by the end of the call, we were both like, "Oh, I love you. I love you too. We should do a show together." Right. So, but what I didn't know at the time was your background story of at some point being homeless to high five figure in a year. That I did not know. Tell us about that.
Oh, that's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah.
So that I should almost write a book. That's a big one. So I found myself homeless due to several circumstances. I was in a marriage that I knew I had to get out of. Never thought it was going to ever happen. And so knew that had to finish up. And I just packed my bags one day and walked out the door. No plan. I was running away from something instead of towards something. And sometimes, gosh, all the conversations I've had since then, sometimes we have to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to leave and we don't know where we're going. But other circumstances in my life came kind of down around that. My mom had passed away shortly after I left the marriage. I was not doing well at my job. I actually had a not bad job, but they were better friends with my ex-husband, and I was going to work and not producing as well because my heart was just broken in so many pieces from both of those events that I got fired.
Yeah.
And so I was couch surfing, and I had a friend of mine, and her and I became good friends through this process. But she had a room in her apartment, her storage room, that she cleared out space, and I was able to get an air mattress, and so I slept on the air mattress in that storage area for a while until I could see my way through the muck. And it literally, and I hope none of your listeners have ever been in this spot, but it hurt to even breathe. I was like willing myself to get to the next half hour to just take the next breath. I was just in such emotional and spiritual agony. I just was completely broken. And I just kept asking myself, why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? You know, my boss, my life, my marriage, my bank account, my everything. And I was just all of these external circumstances that I was blaming for my situation. And something inside of me just made the connection that it was my life, it was my marriage, it was my bank account, it was my job. Oh my gosh, it's me.
Mm.
I did this. My choices, my decisions that I made.
Ooh.
And we don't create the circus. But you know what? In hindsight, I married that man and I knew he had those habits before. But looking back, I believe that I thought that I could fix, change, be okay with whatever. But in even that part, 15 years before homelessness, I made the decision to be okay with not being my authentic self, even back then. And when I realized that, I started wondering what other decisions that I could make and what
Mm.
can I do. And somewhere in there, somebody I know, I still know her, gave me the book, The Secret. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay. I mean, seriously, there was nowhere else for me to go on the downward side except for checking out. And that was never, ever an option, no matter how much pain I was in. I just always felt like I just got to see what's tomorrow, right? What's just what, peek around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm not done. I'm
You
not
still had
totally out of
hope.
the game. Yeah. Um, so I started, in The Secret, they talk about, this guy that manifests his feather. He draws sketches of feather and then he finds it. I think it's on the street of New York or something. He looks down and there's this randomly weird shaped feather on the ground. And so I started playing with that myself and things started happening. And I was focusing on what I wanted and focusing on kind of having fun with creating stuff in my life. And it was happening all the way up and until I was just like, oh, if I could just have $100 more. And I went somewhere and I'd look down and there was $20 bills on the ground around my feet on a busy road. Like, how many other people walked past this but didn't look? And I was like, wow. And
Yeah.
it was and these things started happening more and more and more to me. And people were like, wow, you're really lucky. And I'm like, seriously? I'm living on the storage room floor. Like, how can you? But I was doing that also, right?
Yeah.
I was just directing my energy, directing my life in a different direction, making different choices, better choices, thinking about the life I want to have instead of the crappy life I have. And I had to find out why.
Yeah.
I had to find out why. And there's a gentleman in the movie The Secret, and in the book, Mr. Bob Proctor. I started following and listening to what he was saying, and he was talking about focusing on what do you want every day, all day long. And I started kind of understanding a little bit. I mean, it felt really kind of odd to me that I could just think about something and it would just show up. But yet there it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But also I had the understanding that I also created that homelessness also by focusing on how bad things are. And when I was focusing on how bad things were, I was creating more bad things to happen just by virtue of what you look for, you find. And
Yeah.
so within that year, then that's when things started turning around and I got a job offer and I'm like, what? Me? Really? $80,000 a year? Me? Uh, hello?
Yeah.
You must be a mistake. I'm like looking behind me, wondering who they're talking to. And yeah, my energy shifted, my personality changed, my confidence grew. And I just had to start thinking about the powerful person I want to be. And nobody ever deserves to be here. And I've got to figure out how I did this so I can help other people do this. And that was the beginning of the end of that and
Yeah.
on to the amazing life that I know I'm here to live.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. And so with all of that, okay, my brain is trying to go in like 7 different directions all at the same time. So welcome to ADHD. So let's focus in on the law of attraction then. So as you have now been not just reading the book and watching the movie, but actually implementing this for a number of years now, um, in working with clients in the law of attraction, do you find that there tends to be one particular universal law that comes up as the first one that they need to work on? over and over and over again? And if so, which one is it? Or, well, there's no or on that one. Just, is there one that you see with your clients over and over and over again that tends to be the first one that they're not aware of or struggling with? And then that's what you help them with first.
No is the short answer.
Okay.
I don't know where to go with that. So I'll start with the short answer. The short answer is no. The longer answer is that all of the laws, a lot of them kind of work together. So it's an understanding. And the first understanding is that we are all working with the laws all the time. But how are you working with them? The law of attraction, if anybody has studied that, the law of attraction has a parent law, which is the law of vibration. Okay. So whatever frequency we're vibrating at, because all things are energy. Mm-hmm. So the molecules and everything are at a rate of speed or a rate of vibration. So for people who, Bob Proctor always used to say that you can believe in the laws and you can ignore the laws, but you can't alter the laws. They are always and forever there. So when you're listening to a movie and you hear a low sound, like you just know the bad guy's coming.
Right.
Or you hear a high, and like, oh, good, the fairies are coming to save Peter Pan or whatever, right? Like but that's a vibrational frequency, and vibrational frequencies are picked up by our subconscious, which is also where our emotions are stored, and our bodies are driven by the vibrational frequency or by our emotions, right? You can't watch a cute puppy kitty video and be angry. You just can't, because it gives you that excited emotion. So you'll smile and you'll stand taller. And so that's what it does with anything that we're doing in life. When you're thinking about earning $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, and you get excited about it, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take my kids to Disneyland, and you get excited, you're on that vibrational frequency. So you look for the circumstances to make it happen, and vice versa with the negative. The law of relativity, the law of polarity, all of these laws, they all actually work together.
Oh, okay.
So the one law, the one granddaddy law that I study and that I've been taught is that energy is always here in one form or another. Mm-hmm. So ice cubes become water becomes vapor becomes the ether. It goes up and it comes back down and it turns into water again, but it's always the same, right? It's just in one form of energy or another. Same with trees. The trees grow, the leaves fall, they go into the ground, they nurture the next tree comes and grows from the nutrients in the ground from the other tree. And so the energy is always perpetuating itself. And then the next law below that, which a lot call the law of laws, is the law of cause and effect. What goes around comes around. Be careful what you put out, you're going to get it back, right? Yes. We've all been hearing those since we're children, and that's the law of cause and effect. And if you don't like the effects in your life, you need to cause something different. I didn't like the effect of my life of being homeless, so I started doing a different thing, making a different effect and doing a different cause and having a different effect. Sorry, I spoke that backwards. Yeah. But so when we don't like being broken homeless, we should probably stop doing the things that broke homeless people do and start doing the things that rich, successful people are doing. Yeah. And then we shall become. And that kind of leads into your network marketing people that maybe they're not quite there where they want to be yet. Are you doing everything your leaders are telling you to do? If they tell you to reach out to 10 people a day, are you? Are you reaching out to 5 and thinking that's good enough? And then, it's already 3:00. Now I'll do 20 tomorrow. Well, you won't, because you didn't do 5 today and you probably didn't do 5 yesterday. So why do you think you're going to do 20 tomorrow? And just starting to actually just do those things that we have to do and that we're being told to do. And one of my favorite sayings of all time, and of course I get this from Bob Proctor again, is your way's not working. Why don't you try mine? So if my way's not working, maybe I should try hers or his. Yeah. And get going in the right direction once and for all.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine how many of the badass crew are feeling totally called out in this moment right now, going, she can't even see me. She doesn't even know I exist. And yet she just said, am I doing what my leader asked me to do in order to be successful? And no, I'm not. Right. It's okay, guys. We all hit that, you know?
We all do it. We're all a work in progress.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting about network marketers, right? They all, in some way, shape, or form, have a rebellious streak because that's why they're network marketers, right? That's why they are a direct selling representative. That's why they are part of the MLM industry, is because they've had enough of the corporate gig, of the teaching gig, of the nursing, right? They've had enough of that. So they're going to rebel a little bit, but that shows up in how they follow or don't follow the leader.
Yes. Yeah. We want to all be unique, but we're also, a lot of them out there that I've worked with in the past are trying to reinvent something that's working perfectly. Right? Like, reinventing the wheel, so to speak. We have to be uniquely ourselves, but also we got to do the work that we need to do to get the results that we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
just covered quite a few of the universal laws. Is that all of them? Are we missing any? Because I read the book The Secret a number of years ago. I watched the movie a number of years ago. It sounds to me like the universe is telling me, girlfriend, time to do it again.
There are no mistakes, Jenny.
No, I totally believe that. Like, this is the universe giving me a sign to go do this. Are there any that we haven't covered yet that people should be aware of, especially if this is their first time maybe ever hearing about the law of attraction or what's covered there? So you covered the law of laws, so the cause and effect. You covered what else? The energy.
Yeah, vibrational frequency and the law of
Vibrational.
attraction. Polarity is the law of opposites. All things have an opposite. So if you can think of how something's not working, then you can find out how something does work. So saying like, how this can't work, ask yourself, how can this work? And you and I experienced that earlier today ourselves before we got like, okay, how can we make this happen? So the law of polarity, and if something can be bad, it can be good. And we go through situations even as humanity where some people will just go, oh my gosh, this is horrible, and then whatever comes after that, and in that exact moment, in that exact situation, somebody is off and running and going, okay, how can I make the best of this and how can I move forward better? And then it's so that comes to perspective, right? How do you look at it? And now we're getting into habits and beliefs, right? What do you believe is possible? What do you believe can come from this, right? And were you trained to always run away from or run towards or think about how it can happen or just allow other people to just deal with it and, go hide under a tree or your bed or something? So anyway, so that's the law of polarity. Sorry, I digressed for a minute there.
That's okay. No, that's good. Because obviously, whatever it was that you were talking about, somebody needed to hear it. Because I'm a big believer that, and I say this to the Badass crew all the time, which is if you're hearing this, it's because the universe meant for you to hear this, and you're needing something from this particular this particular conversation.
Absolutely. I'm just always following my instincts too, even when I'm sharing on podcasts, because something is pulling me in that direction, that somebody somewhere needs to hear this, that's going to hear it. One of the laws that a lot of people they discount and they don't understand is called the law of gestation, or the law of gender, that all things take time to nurture, that things have an incubation period. There is a time to grow things. When we plant our garden, when we women get pregnant, we kind of know roughly when events are going to happen, right? How long it takes. But with our dreams, with our goals, with our vision, we don't know. We don't know I don't know if I'm going to have 20 new clients tomorrow, or if I'm not going to have another new client for like 10 years. We actually don't know when things are going to happen, but we do know that all things take time. And depending on where a person is with their habits, their beliefs, their work ethic, if they are going to keep trying to reinvent the wheel, or when are they going to decide that their upline knows what the heck they're talking about and their negative talk, feelings, and actions are not going to get them anywhere except for more things negative in their life, like what happened to me, until they make those decisions and they decide, this is where I'm going, this is what I want, and nothing's going to stop me from getting there, and they don't let anything get in their way, that law of gestation will speed up. It will come faster. The more you truly, honestly believe in yourself and what you want, and you have the confidence to go after it no matter what, you can speed it up. So the law of gestation, in terms of our goals, the only way to make sure you don't get there is to quit. You can't read self-help books and sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and binge Netflix. I don't want to name drop.
Yeah.
But
no, exactly.
You must do the work. People, the US industry, I looked this up 2 years ago. I haven't looked it up since, but it was a big enough number. In the United States alone, a couple of years ago, the self-help industry market was over $10 billion.
Oh, yeah.
How many books do people have on their shelves that they read and they put it down and went, oh, that was cool? I have people that have been coming to my webinars and my material for years, and they are in the same situation in their life as they were when I met them years ago. Why? They come to my webinars. They're like, oh, you're so nice. You're amazing. I love your content. Your trainings are great. And then 2 days later, they're spouting off negativity all over social media. And so we got to understand that we have to do the work. Move your feet. You are not going to get anywhere unless you move your feet with confidence and be unapologetically yourself and do the things that the people are doing that are making the money that you want to make and living the life you want to live.
Oh, yes.
And the law of gestation is so misunderstood, and it's so important, just as important as all the others.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And what came up for me as you were talking about that, and my badass crew has heard me say this before, which is, what are the last 6 letters in law of attraction? Action, right? You know, law of it. You want to attract something to you. Great. But you've got to put the energy out there for it to be attracted to you. And to put the energy out there, you have to actually move. You have to take action. You have to do something, you know? It's
absolutely. And if we want to know if we're doing the right things, and if we want to know if we're attracting the right things, we just got to look at our current circumstances. Because everything around me right now here in my house is based on my past activities. So if I don't like what's in my life right now, those are my past activities. So I have to do things differently than I ever have before to have something that I've never had before.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Which is what a lot of network marketers have at least taken the first step on, which is to start their business, right? They started it.
Yes.
Whether or not they're doing all the things to make sure it's a successful network marketing business is apparently a whole conversation.
Right. That's a whole other podcast.
Right.
I've worked with a lot of network marketers who are in their 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th network marketing company. And when I ask them, why have you, tell me about this one. Why did you leave? Tell me about this one. Why did you leave? And for me, being on the outside, kind of looking in and hearing them explaining these things, it's very obvious to me after a very short time that they quit at the same place pretty much each time. That tells me they have a habit, they have a limiting belief, they have something going on that is stopping them, and it's them. And that's not an attack. That should be very exciting, because whatever habit or belief or self-sabotaging way a person has, they can change it.
Yeah.
And pretty much anybody within 30 minutes of having a conversation with me, I can tell them exactly why they haven't succeeded. And it's not the company. If one person is being very successful in a company, everybody can be, because we all have the exact same mind. ability and God-given gift to choose what to think, feel, and do every day, all day long. And when we make the right decisions, everybody can be successful at whatever they're doing right now. You don't have to change companies. You really don't, unless there's something morally or ethically going on that you don't like and you don't agree with.
Right.
That's totally different, of course. And I mean, we all have stories. However, if you're just leaving because the product doesn't sell and somebody is making a lot of money at it, you can make a lot of money at it too. You don't have to leave.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Because I don't know if there's a statistic out there that tracks this, but I know that I've seen it just like you mentioned from having conversations with people in the network marketing world that they've hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. I mean, you can even look at one of the people that I've interviewed on the show. I don't know if you're aware or know of Jordan Adler, right? Jordan Adler was with 11 companies before he made $1
Mm-hmm.
in the network marketing industry.
Never gave up.
Exactly. He never gave up. He figured out the issue was him, right? He realized that was the issue, and he went and took action, learned the things he needed to learn, listened to the people he needed to listen to, did the things he needed to do, and continues to do the things that successful network marketers do. So he continues to be more and more successful.
Yes.
Right. Which is why I had him on the show not once, but twice, because I was like, come back, tell us more. Right?
Yeah.
What that looks like. Right. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, there's so many different ways we can go with this. So with all of this, there over time are obviously things that you're able to help people with in network marketing that helps them move forward. And one of them is mindset. Right. And so you and I were talking before the show, and you said, you know what? I was going to give this, but I want to gift this to your audience instead. What is it that you are offering to the Badass Crew today?
I love that you have a badass crew. That makes my heart smile. We shall all be badasses.
Right.
Oh, I was trying to think of which direction to go with that, Jenny, with your amazing people. And I did a podcast not that long ago, and it really resonated with a lot of people. So I want to share with your audience the replay of that. So it's about an hour long, but it's really talking about a lot of the things we talked about here, and the things that there's two main things that are really standing in people's way of success. I mean, you were asking me about which one of the laws is really important, but it's actually habits. It's the things we're doing that we shouldn't be doing, and the things that we're not doing that we need to start doing. And so through the podcast, or the webinar, I do talk about a lot of these things, and sharing with them also in that time is a bit of a step-by-step process. I talked about my journey a little bit, and I use the steps, the little map that I give the viewers, how I went a little bit, like kind of my mindset thinking of how I went from homeless using the process. And I have a client in South Africa that him and his wife were like they couldn't even buy diapers for their children. And they actually, through law of attraction, through focusing on what they want and all these things, they were actually given a food truck. He was an out of work chef. And so I exemplify it going through that journey. And so I want to share that with your audience. I want to share that webinar so that they can have a leg up. It's not about, even talking to me if they don't want to, but just everybody deserves to live the life they were born to live. We were all here for purpose. We're all unique. We're all special, and we deserve our song to be sung and our voice to be heard in whatever form that is. And so I want everybody to have the leg up that I was given when I was homeless and pay it forward in whatever way possible. So yeah, I want to give this replay to your audience. So yeah, that's my gift.
Thank you so much. And so, Badass Crew, you guys are used to this. You know that you can go into the show notes and grab the link that Connie Anne is offering. But just in case this is your first time ever listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, and you're sitting here going, show notes, how do I get the link? How do I get the replay? Because I really want what Connie Anne is offering. What you're going to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode, scroll beneath Connie Anne's beautiful picture, and you will find the show notes. And there we will have the link to the webinar so that you can go watch that on your own time and get that information that she is sharing about those habits and things that are blocking you from your success. So, Connie Anne, thank you so much. I so greatly appreciate you sharing your law of attraction knowledge and, of course, this webinar. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. I'm so
Oh,
blessed to be here. Thank you.
good. Oh my gosh. And in case the Badass Crew would like to reach out to you and maybe ask a question about the law of attraction or maybe one of the laws we discussed today, how would you like them to get in contact with you?
Oh, I'd love to talk to whoever wants to talk to me. My email is super simple. It's Connie Anne at connieanne.com. And I will know you heard this podcast if you put "I'm a badass" in the subject line. I will know where you came from. So yeah, anybody that wants to reach out just has a few questions, I'd be happy to answer them for sure.
Fantastic. I love it. So, of course, Badass Crew, make sure when you email Connie Anne that you put in the subject line, I am a badass, so that she knows that you came from listening to today's show. And Connie Anne, thank you again. I greatly appreciate you. I know my Badass Crew is sitting here going, this is so good, because we often reference the law of attraction. We don't always dig into it the way we did today. So I truly appreciate you. And
Thank you.
Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.